Hello first graders, welcome to my home studio and welcome to your art class from home. Continue with our symbols lesson. We're going to learn how to use these materials and maybe other materials that you have at home to create a stamp. So let's go to the class. A stamp is basically one of these that you put ink and then you repeat the same picture, the same word over and over. I suppose you have seen all of this. They can come in different ways. For example, this has my daughter's name. This one has a picture. It has another picture. This one over here has another picture. The basic way stamps work is that they have positive and negative spaces in them. So the positive spaces are all the part of the stamp that are higher, and the negative spaces are all the parts that are lower. So today I'm going to show you how to create one personalized stamp using simple material that you can get at home every day, something like this. So let's see how it works. So guys, the first thing that you need to have to create your stamp is a good design. In this case, I'm going to show you how I'm going to use simple shapes to create my design. My design is going to be a phoenix bird. I'm going to show you how I'm going to use those simple shapes to create that picture. Okay, so after having my 4 designs, I decided to take out number 4 and number 3, mainly because they have too many pieces and too many little pieces that are going to be difficult to cut. Then I stay with number 2 and number 1, and I'm going to choose number 1. This is the one I'm going to make for my stamp. I think it has all the characteristics of the phoenix bird, and I think it's simple to make, doesn't have too many complicated shapes, so I'm going with this. The first thing we're going to use is a piece of cardboard or anything that is sturdy that you can support the stamp. So this one is a simple box cardboard, and I'm going to measure 6 by 6 centimeters. So I'm going to measure over here 6 centimeters. I'm going to measure over here again 6 centimeters. I'm going to draw a line and I'm going to cut it. When I have this, I'm going to measure again 6 centimeters. Put my ruler. 6. And 6. This is going to be the base for my stamp. Okay, after I chose my design, it's going to be this one over here. What we're going to do is I'm going to draw all the different parts of my design. What I'm going to model them, and then I'm going to place them over here. So again, I have different options. I can use processing, for example. I can model all the parts, and place them here. Or I can use any rope that I have, put glue and just go around with the rope and make the shape that I want. Or I can use any kind of material, for example this material, and I could make my pattern with different bits like this. But it's important that you use your creativity, your imagination to do your stamp. In this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use also cardboard to make it. The most important thing about the material you use is that it is the same height. I'm going to show you in a moment, okay, what it means, because all materials have different heights. Okay, this is lower and this is higher over here, so you need to choose materials that have the same height. I'm going to show you in a moment how it looks when it's finished. Sorry, I just finished drawing my design. Over here you see it. Something that I want to show you, that I have to draw everything in detail again because I need to cut it well. If you see over here, I put these parts, the small parts of the tail of the phoenix. I put them over here because I didn't want to use another piece of cardboard. Just this is enough for me, but there was no space over here, so I put them over here. Now the next step for me is I'm going to cut all of these little pieces, and I will show you when I'm done with them. Something I realized when I was cutting through cardboard is that cutting through cardboard is not easy, and it is difficult to cut in different parts. For example, this part of the tail, even if I could cut the shape, when I put it, they're going to be very flat. And remember, the idea is that they are the same height, and they're not going to be the same height. It's almost damaged over here, so I'm going to model these parts, the tail and this top part of the head, with plasticine. Okay, now I cut through the plasticine in this case to make these shapes. I have them the size I want them. And the next step is I'm going to paste this over here. You can use any kind of glue you have at home. I have normal glue over here, I have glue stick, and I have liquid silicone. So for this one, I'm going to choose liquid silicone. But in your case, you can use any of this. Just remember that you need to give them some time to dry according to the material. This is my finished stamp. Possibly you notice it's going to be a little bit different from the one in the design, but that's okay. Just a few things to mention. Number one is that you can use different materials. For example, I use the cardboard and the plasticine. You can use any different materials that you have at home. Just remember, the idea is to make sure that they are almost the same height. If there's something that is higher than other materials, that material is going to stamp and the other materials are not going to stamp. So it's important to make sure that all the materials are basically the same height. If I put, for example, one bead like this over here, possibly the bead would stamp and the parts around the bead would not stamp. So it's important to make sure that they are the same height. The other thing I realize right now is that I make a mistake. I have to paste this stamp in the opposite way, because when I stamp this, it is going to be, you're going to have, for example, the tails going this way, and it's going to be all facing the other side. Okay, in my case it's not a problem, but in your case possibly it can be a problem. So make sure that when you paste your stamp, you paste it in the opposite way than you draw it. Okay. So guys, the other thing that is important to mention now is that I cannot use this stamp right now because it's fresh. So I need to give it a few, possibly few hours to dry completely before I actually use it. Now that my stamp is dry, I left it dry overnight, it's time to use it. So for using my stamp, what I'm going to need is paint. Over here I have red paint, any paint you have at home is okay. And I'm going to use a plate. In case you don't have a plate is good enough for this work. In my case, this is a plate that I actually use at home. So instead of using this part where I eat, I'm going to use the back. Okay, that's good enough. My stamp is going to fit in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this part, okay, in a way that I cover all of the space over here with a thin layer of paint. So you need to put a lot of paint over here. Just make sure that all the part is covered. Over here I have my piece of paper. I'm going to put my stamp here. I'm going to press it very well so every part of the stamp is covered with paint. I'm going to put it a little bit more. Maybe you will need to press with your fingers in different areas so the stamp is actually well painted everywhere. Something like that. Okay, when your stamp is well painted, you're going to put it on the piece of paper and again press in different parts with your fingers. So every part of the stamp gets actually copied on the paper. This is my stamp. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stamp at least 4 or 6 times, okay? A few things. Now I'm done stamping. In this piece of paper with this side of stamp, you can stamp possibly 9 times. You can stamp 3 times in here and 3 times here, 3 times in here, so there's enough space for stamping 9 times if you cut this 6 by 6. The next thing you need to do is to clean up your stamp. Okay, don't leave it like that. But very lightly take a towel or a piece of paper, anything you have, and very lightly clean up the excess of paint. Then you're going to leave it dry and it's going to be ready for using it again. So this is my final result. This is what you're going to do in the next 2 classes. In the first class, you're going to watch the video, this video, and you're going to draw your designs, your 4 designs. In the next class, you're going to make your stamp with different materials and you're going to stamp it. Okay, so that's the work for 2 classes. Remember, class number 1, class number 2. I hope you enjoy doing this work and see you next class. Bye.